I guess more simply, what are you just doing to stay positive? What are you doing to stay happy, whether that is creative or something else?
Yeah, I think that it's so true that like with all of this time, there can be this like intense pressure that you have to like do something. And I definitely have like a big project I'm working on for a museum in Wisconsin. So I'm like spending time on that, and that's not like different, like pandemic or not. I would have been working on that. Um, but I've been, like really been enjoying going out for walks lately. Like I haven't. I don't know if normally I like notice the things that I'm noticing,
Hmm.
like going outside. So I'm doing that, and then I'm also trying to like do some things for myself. So like I've had this dream for years that I would like sew my own clothes and
Hmm.
like make them exactly how I want them. And it's funny, I spend like a ton of time at the sewing machine, but when I'm like sewing clothing, I have like very little patience. Like I
Yeah.
just want it to be done. So I'm trying to like just give myself some time and like listen to music. And like I think when you're learning a new skill, you kind of have to like let go a little bit and just like step by step move through it. So I'm trying to kind of get into that zone.
Yeah.
And it does really help like with just staying in the moment. Like a lot of my like worries during this time have like you sort of like worry about one thing and then that gets bigger.
Right.
So when you're like in the moment, and I think that's what's good about going for walks too, is that you're sort of like in the moment. So those like projects I can do that really, take my concentration and sort of like a step by step thing, I think are really helping. So yeah, there's this project that I'm working on with flowers. So I can do a lot of research online, which is nice. I went to Wisconsin to do some of that research, but now I'm like able to sort of digest that here, which
Yeah.
is really fun. And then another thing I've been doing, and I like have a drawing practice where I draw a lot, but I've been doing some work with sort of inks and washes.
Yeah.
So these are based on some prairie plants. So I'm doing like more studies, and I've been enjoying that. I'll show you some more of those. So kind of thinking about like positive and negative space,
Yeah. Yeah.
like movement too. So I've got like a bunch of these, and I mean like I always try to draw, but yeah, like drawing and hand stitching really help with sort of
Yeah.
being in the moment. Some more. So those are just like studies I've done on paper. Some pencil. I don't know if you can see that. So I've got some like milkweed.
Wow, these are
Embroidery.
fantastic. When you're bringing it over, it just looks like you're bringing over a pile of leaves that you picked up. Like that's incredible. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're based on pressed flowers, so I wanted them to have this like sense of being like something that's dried.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
doing some stuff with color blending. But it's amazing the way that they translate, like how much of a copy they are.
Yeah.
So that's like
How do you
one of my
get it to
favorite.
where it looks like there's certain parts of like the stem that have like that kind of darker green and then it comes out into a lighter? Like what how do you get that effect?
So I'm shading it. So like I think you're talking about like here, there's like a darker
Right.
outline. So I'll go from like light to dark. So I'm using different colors of thread and sort of like shading it in, and then you can see a little bit like the outline there. That would be
Yeah.
like the darkest green.
Wow.
So I'm almost treating it like a drawing, like going from light to dark and shading it in. But I also wanted it to still be like kind of see through. That's pretty fun, seeing it on the screen.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, so I have about 10 varieties. I forget what this one is called, of course, but it's got some pretty like funky leaves on it.
And how do these plan to be installed? Because I know you've done some closer to the ground, some higher up. Like, or is this a wall install? Like, how do you see this being put up?
Well, this piece is going to be like very different from my normal work because the site that I'm doing the installation for is like I think the pieces need to be like 40 feet high. Like
Okay.
it's a huge space.
Okay. Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm making these like to size, and then I'm scanning them at a really high resolution, and I'm printing them onto really sheer fabric.
Okay.
So these will be on display sort of like wallpaper on a wall. I'm going to like sort of line them all up. And there'll be like sort of a wall piece, and then there's going to be like a really big hanging installation inside the museum.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's kind of, this is something that I knew I would need a lot of time for, so it's good to have some time to do it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that works.
and I feel like I've been like concentrating in a different way, like noticing different things. So I'm trying to like blend colors in a different way.
How do you feel like things have changed since you've been at 108? Or how do you feel like things maybe haven't changed, whether that's in process or like the way maybe just life is in general? Like, yeah, like what's changed since then?
Since I've been since I had the show at 108, like I have the same studio space. I'm teaching a little bit more at a place called Sheridan College, so I'm teaching university courses there in textiles. So that's a big change for sure. I've added to the piece that was up at 108, so I've expanded it a little bit more for, I think it's traveled to 3 places since 108, so I try to like beef it up a little bit every time. But yeah, I'm still working with the same machines in the same space, and just trying to kind of like challenge myself a little bit more with scale. So at 108, I was working with all these little pieces, which, you know, I still have some little pieces now,
Right.
but I'm trying to think of ways to kind of expand my process, and by doing that, like expand the scale of works. So kind of incorporating some printing and applique with my free motion and stitching practice. So some little changes. I feel like there's things like just about to happen, or they're like on their way to happening now. Because I like that part of showing work in spaces where you get to talk with people and like show them something. Like it's more about like sharing, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, the teaching has been really, really challenging, really good. And sort of like learning more about how to deliver information in different ways. It's like finding all these different ways to relate. So yeah, it's been really, really challenging. I mean, online learning is very challenging too.
Yeah. Are you all doing online classes?
Yeah, and it's challenging with studio courses, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, we need studio space.
Right. Yeah.
Do
you all just work from home and like show what you're doing? And
well, Zoom meetings are like saving my life right now, because you get to see people's faces, and it is kind of fun, like spying on people's homes and stuff, or like seeing their pets.
See what?
You get to see like a different side of people. So yesterday I had a meeting with my thesis students, which are the 4th year students, and they were showing their projects, which was fun. And some of them are working on other things too, just to keep busy.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a challenge, but you find the best. You try to make the best of it.